Hello, my name is Holly Baglio. Your
name is Holly Baglio. Your name is Holly
gotta
Baglio.
love it.
Your
Gotta love it. I'm so glad that this happened at the beginning of the broadcast and not at the end. All right, so let's start over. Wait, I got my props. Take two. This is the Zelensky. Give me my nukes. Hi, my name is Holly Baglio, your hostess with the mostest, keeping Yehusha HaMashiach the focus, and I'm broadcasting to you live from Spirit Force Studios right here in my beautiful Garden home state of Nazi, New Jersey, Fourth Reich Rising. I want my HTV. That was only twice that I had to do my introduction, but welcome. It's great to see you, Beverly. Shalom. Yehusha Barakas to you and your loved ones. I hope everything is working out favorably for you, as well as for the rest of you tuning in. Um, Currently, I am mirroring this on YouTube. So by the time internet radio hears it, it's going to be, well, I'm pre recording it right now. So it's live on YouTube, but it's not live on internet radio. Today, I am going to talk about the truths about alters, switching, and MKUltra programming, and how to heal. What do you do? Where do you start? Where do you go? I can give you some ideas. So I don't even know where to begin because I did not write anything down. Gotta love it. I hate when this happens. Heavenly Abba, I come before you and I ask that you use me as a vessel and you speak through me and please make an example out of me. Heavenly Abba, please forgive me for all the times that I draw blanks, and may you help me run a great broadcast that's useful to the listener. In Yahushua HaMashiach Shem, Selah. So, all right, altars. I can only give you my experience and I can only tell you about the cases that have come across my desk. Now, let me explain something. The reason why I say cases come across my desk is because I am protecting other people's privacy and I don't really know how to word myself, and I'd like to sound a little bit professional, but also I want those people that do come to me to know I'm not going to say who they are, where they live, or anything like that. However, once in a blue moon, I get an incredible story and I want to share it with all of you. I am an ordained minister. I've been an ordained minister for 7 years now. I am bound by a duty of confidentiality, and other people may not take that seriously, but I do. And back before I was healed and cured through the blood of the Lamb, Yahushua HaMashiach, back before when I was DID with 169 altars that were intentionally programmed into me, of course, I'm drawing a blank right now. I hate when that happens. I really hate when that happens. The thought's not coming back to me. But I do take my ordainment seriously. And even back when I had the 169 altars, each one of my altars took my ordainment, and that vow of confidentiality, duty of confidentiality very seriously. There have been people that have come to me and said, Holly, don't you dare ever use my story. And I have not, and I would not. There's other people out there that when you say don't use my story, they go behind your back and do it anyway. Or worse, when they try to steal your testimony and pass it off as their own. So what happened to me was done by our government and military. So my altars never had names. And there's various ways that a person can be intentionally programmed. Now, I'm not talking about somebody that was abused by their family, whether it was sexually abused, mentally abused, whether they were a part of a cult. I'm talking about this was intentionally done to me because once they were finished programming me, they sent me out on assignments and missions. I was sent out on a Rothschild assassination attempt. I was sent out on a lot of different things. But again, I was born into these MKUltra projects, and I'm trying to expose Adolf Hitler and his best friends backbreeding to the alien Aryan race because I believe I was a part of those projects. It's not a fantasy. It's not a conspiracy. And no, it doesn't happen to every single person. Now, the Freemasons have a certain way of programming their victims. What happened to me was done by our military industrial complex. And just to tell you, when I say black operations, I'm not giving you guys names because I fear for my life. There's people in the military that will never be brought to justice. Now, if you want to talk in private, take a walk where there's no recording devices, I might consider telling you names. But even then, right now I have no handlers. I'm not being handled. And the only way it's possible for a person not to be handled is through the blood of the Lamb, Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm not talking about Jehovah, Jesus, Yeshua. I'm not talking about the imposters. And there are a lot of imposters. And when a person has altars and they are seeking the truth and they're seeking to get out and they're seeking help, the one thing they need and want is somebody to tell them the truth. Now, Yahushua HaMashiach, that perfect man that died for all of our sins, resurrected, ascended to heaven, and is going to return soon, he gives us that truth. And it's only through him that it's possible for us to fully actually heal. I've seen people take the route of source, and they choose source. Well, I'm sure they find a little bit of relief, but that full curing and healing that sticks and stays is only obtained through Yahushua HaMashiach. So, like these cases that come across my desk, yeah, sometimes it's complete strangers reaching out to me and we talk. Sometimes it's friends. Sometimes it's somebody I've been acquainted with on the internet that bumps into a problem and they're like, hey, can we talk? So, and in all cases, it winds up that we become friends afterwards. You know, the lines of communication are still open, whether they agree or not, or whatever happens. I feel like I walked away meeting a new person, and if they should ever need anything, and I can pray, or I can baptize them, or I can help them get rid of demons, my doors are open. Sadly, well, I say sadly because demons are icky and yucky, but sadly, I'm really good at getting rid of them. And I know a thing or two about demonic possession. I went through it. I know a thing or two about altars. Now, I've seen people get up on the internet. Now, listen, YouTube, I'm not going to ruin my internet radio broadcast by saying names like Shelly, Allie, and Safi, but you guys have an idea of who I'm talking to, right? Talking about. It's those types of people, you know, the people that are forever gang stalked, but meanwhile, they don't tell you anything. People that say they got altars, but meanwhile, they just play games with altars. So you on YouTube know this. They're paused right now. Who's they? I have a name for they. Internet radio. This will later be uploaded and published to Spotify, Podbean, and all the rest. So, because we no longer have the live feature, at least I can run this on my YouTube and still have a chat room. And I better put this on all messages because I might be missing all messages. And if I am, I'm sorry. Again, I'm doing this off the cuff. I don't have anything written down. So if I get off on tangents or I start preaching to you about my golden bow Yahusha, forgive me. All right. I got to remember to hit record. I forgot where I left off with them. What was I saying? Authors. So, and Heavenly Abba also baraked me with spiritual gifts, and I love to share them with people. I love to share my dreams and visions. I love to pray for other people. So let's get back to altars and let me try to stay on topic. So what was done to me was intentional. So if altars, okay, there are things called trigger words or codes, and a trigger word would be like Alpha 592 Delta. It would have strange words and numbers in it. Code words and trigger words are what a programmer or handler would use to pull forward an altar if you are a programmed multiple. For me, I was born into these MKUltra projects and I was used as a super soldier. I was trafficked with a small group of kids. Yes, I was put by other children, but the created human beings, the engineered human beings like myself, it was a small group of kids, like 20, 30 kids. It was not big. And we were programmed together. Now, these code words and these trigger words, they could consist of words, letters, sounds, smells, hand gestures. Now, these trigger words and code words, they're not sold in contracts. Like, for instance, nobody has a contract on Holly Baglio, and then all of a sudden there's this bidding war. Who wants Holly Baglio's trigger words so you can pull forward her altars, going to the lowest bidder? Oh, 100 for you? Sold. Oh, well, here's so-and-so's code words, and we're selling her contract, and how much do you want? Oh, you're going to pay $300,000? Okay, sold. Code words and trigger words do not work like that for for a programmed MKUltra. Whether you have a Manchurian candidate, a programmed shooter that'll go shoot up the school. Sometimes they might off themselves, sometimes they might not, and they don't remember anything about it. Or whether in my case, it takes certain code words to pull forward these altars. These code words are not sold. They're not contracts. Anybody saying they are is lying to you and making things up, because the liars that are lying to you, making things up, they're betting. They're betting all their money on the fact that you, the listener and viewer, are not going to look up those declassified MKUltra documents and actually take the time to read all of them to educate yourself to know that they're lying. They're banking on the fact you're just going to take their word for it. Oh, Holly, I've got the gift of discernment. Yeah? Yeah? Huh. Be careful. And I'm going to pause what I'm saying. Here's ECWN, WWF. Oh, I must flex for the ECWN. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. I had an altar. I had this one altar. It seemed like she had my sense of humor. So I nicknamed her the Zelinsky. um, so, people that are molested by, I'll give you an example, people that are molested by their father and tortured, and an altar is spun off from that. Typically, the altar will create its own name, its own personality, and um, it's kind of similar to the original person. It's just altered. It's slightly different. Um, but they will form a whole personality. They're left to their own devices. Um, Now, an alter is that person that's stuck at the moment of trauma. Now, for me, what was done to me was done by the military industrial complex. It was not done by mommy, daddy, or the school or church or somebody else or a cult. What was done to me was by our military industrial complex. So none of my alters had names. So when my alters popped forward, what I did was I nicknamed them. Some alters I never even spoke to, but I didn't need to speak to them for Yahuwah to heal me. Some alters knew about each other. Some alters were programmed not to recognize each other. Some alters were programmed to spy on the other ones. It depends how you were programmed. I was programmed 313. So 3 alters would be forward at any one time, and there'd be 13 levels of alters. And you could have like 5 drawers pulled out, or 5 tiers, not drawers, but 5 tiers. What's a tier? A tier would be a certain amount of alters. So when code words and trigger words are used on me specifically, Holly Baglio, because of how Mangley programmed me, a code word would be used, a tier would be pulled forward, and that tier would contain 3 alters. You could then use other code words and pull forward different tiers or different levels of alters. But every time you pull forward a tier or pull forward a level from those 13 levels or 13 tiers, there's going to be 3 alters coming out at every time. So 3 times 3, 9. 3 times 5, 15. What job are you looking to get done? Now, for instance, Max Spears, if my memory serves me correctly, he was programmed 222. So he would have 2 alters forward at any one time, and there was 22 tiers or 22 levels. So anytime you pull forward a tier or level, there would be 2 alters forward at all times. But what happened to Max Spears and myself was done by our government and military. It was done with intention. So that way, when we were sent out on missions and assignments, when we got back, we would never remember what happened. So we would never be a liability to anyone, because our core raw personality is not the one carrying the information. It's the alters that have all the information. I had this case come across my desk one time. 3 times 9 is 27. It's a Holocaust Remembrance Day. ECW1 is telling me I need to flex 169 more times for him, 1 for each one of my alters. Hey, babe. I'm fully reintegrated now in 1 operating unit. I'm only flexing once for you. Maybe I'll flex again at the end of the show. I'll show you my back muscles. I'll show you the back of my hand muscles. No, I'm kidding. Now, what was I saying? Thanks to you, ECW, and I can't remember. And I was just going to roll right into the other topic. Oh, that's what it was. For lack of better terms, a case came across my desk, and this girl was self-diagnosing herself based on my testimony. And she said she had gaps of memory missing from the time from when she was younger, like 3, 4, 5 years old. And she had some strange happenings. But when this woman gave me her testimony, there were no red flags at all. She had a regular life. She was a regular child. Her parents were difficult with her, but your parents and my parents, we had difficult parents. She was a regular person that had regular struggles. She was not trafficked. There was no cult. Her family was not a cult. There was no satanic ritual abuse in her family. Her family was just not a nice family, but she was twisting it into something else. Now, I do believe that this woman underwent something. I know that her baby's fathers treated her like garbage. So battered women syndrome is a very serious thing. I know I've suffered from it. We can have that discussion about 2019 and what I had to go through to escape that situation and overcome it, but that's not this topic. Well, anyway, this girl kept saying, oh, well, Holly, I got altars. I got this alpha altar. And then there's all these baby doll or these little ones, these real young ones behind it. And it's like, yo, chick, you are listening to my testimony, stealing my testimony, and whatever I say I've got going on, now all of a sudden, a week later or a month later, you got the same thing going on. That's garbage. What are you, paranoid schizophrenic? You got a serious mental problem, or are you just seeking attention? Better yet, maybe you need to get off the computer and spend more time with your 5 kids. And I just lost 3 viewers once I said that on YouTube. Ouch. Hey, listen, it's not my fault when the shoe fits. I'm teasing. So I think that, people can go through something really bad in their life and have post-traumatic stress disorder. And then later in life, they can go through something traumatized, or they can go through something shocking. And all of a sudden, they have a post-traumatic stress disorder flashback. They have a flashback. It's not an alter. It's a flashback. But the only way that you're going to know that is if you go to a professional and you stop trying to self-diagnose yourself based on Holly Baglio's testimony. Listen, I came forward to talk about the kids in the cage. Not to get my testimony stolen by the likes of Allie, Shelley, Safi, and people like that. So I have a couple of comments in the chat room. Hi, Aaron. Blessings to you. You did? Though he was gone before we found each other. Oh my gosh, Aaron. My love and blessings and light to you. I believe I remember him. I was too coward to reach out to him. I never got a chance to talk to him. And now that he's deceased, I'll never have a chance. Their own version. It's weird. And like, why people want that, right, Aaron? Why do they try to act like a victim? And why do they try to act like what we went through? It was blood, guts, gore, and horrible. Like, and people lie about MKUltra and lie about being trafficked. Like the Freemasons even have a method to their madness, and it's a little bit different. I met somebody that was tortured by the Freemasons, and she had approximately 225 altars. And listen, when somebody has altars, their altars come forward, they have missing time. The only reason why I ever became co-conscious was because when I was 40 years old, I turned to Heavenly Abba and I said, Abba, I don't know who I'm going to find help me out with this one, but I think I got altars because of what happened to me, and the stuff that I'm reading and watching is suggesting that I've got a really big problem on my hands, and help me with this. Heavenly Abba then allowed me to be co-conscious. And co-conscious is my altars would still pop forward. I'd be aware, but there was nothing I could do. They were in charge. It was like I'm sitting in the back seat of my very own car, watching all of my altars drive it. There's nothing I can do from the back seat, but I'm fully aware of what's going on in the front seat. Just can't do anything about it. And that's when Heavenly Abba started to show me the trauma and everything that I had been through. But again, in December, the year of 2022, Heavenly Abba blessed me with full reintegration. I'm all patched up. I'm healed and cured. There are no victims on this channel whatsoever. But I have to say, it does take time to get used to being fully reintegrated. It takes it. It's different. I like it better. I feel like I've accomplished something really big by being fully reintegrated. I feel more stable, consistent, constant, and secure. But it was Heavenly Abba that walked me through all of this. If I hadn't turned to him and said, Abba, I need help, and I don't know what I'm dealing with, I don't know what I'm doing, and everybody around me, including the 8 doctors I go see every single month, they don't know what the hell they're doing, and they certainly don't know what I'm talking about. And so Abba blessed me with the co-consciousness. Hey, let me pause for a moment and see my chat room. It's great to see you, River. Post-traumatic stress syndrome causes alters. Traumatic events causes split in the mind. It's your brain trying to protect you from the situation, says ECWN. Yeah, if my alters did not split off during those traumatic situations, I would have died. I would not be here right now. I know a man on black operations, like in the military, I should actually say special forces, but in he's been off to combat. He actually approached me because a part of my testimony where I talk about being sent to Peru and over to the jungle to get rid of that alien predator looking thing that doesn't belong on Earth. A couple combat vets reached out to me about that, but that's because of the Afghani giant. But anyway, my friend on real special forces, black ops, combat vet, everything. The guy kills me. This man actually thinks that he's weak. Listen, the guy's on special forces. He's a combat vet. He's been to combat. There is nothing weak about that man. He has seen things that people pay a lot of money to go to a movie theater to watch, to pretend that they're a part of. He lived it, and he made it through, and he's alive to this day. And for some reason, he thinks he's weak because he has a couple of alters. He's not weak. He made it. He made it by all means necessary. See, we are our alters, and our alters are us. If a person is demonically possessed, well, if the freedom deliverance, being set free from the demonic possession in Yahusha's name, if it's done right the first time, you only need one. You don't need a freedom deliverance for every single altar. You're either demonically possessed or you're not. There's not, oh, well, 3 of my altars are demonically possessed, but the rest of me is okay. Demons do not hide in altars. That's another mistruth. I can sit here all day. You guys are looking for a deprogrammer. You need to stop, okay? Russ Tisdar's dead. Wilfred Wong is in prison. And nobody else is up on the front lines that I could even recommend except for myself. I can run videos and tell you my experience and lead you to Yahuwah. And then you and him have to do the work together. But 9.9 times out of 10, people don't want to do the work. They want somebody to wave a magic wand and do it for them. Well, make my kid okay, Holly. Doesn't work like that. Your kid has to decide Yahuwah. Oh, well, when my kid was younger, they decided they wanted Yahuwah. Yeah, but they're not living in his ways right now. Yeah, but when my kid dies, they'll go right back to God. The Bible says it. Yeah. If your kid is living in his ways, then when your kid dies, it'll go back to Yahuwah. Your kid may have loved him when your child was 5 years old, but now at 20, 25 years old, your child is doing everything wrong. And you're running around with sugar and Band-Aids trying to make it better, saying, oh, don't worry, so long as you love God, you'll go to heaven. No, that's a lie. You don't need to run to a deprogrammer or a church or online ministry. You need to go to Yahushua HaMashiach and get to know him for him and stop listening to these other people that are diluted. There's a great falling away, not a great awakening. Anyway, with my altars, when my altars, because I'm programmed, when my altars would shift, when they'd switch or come forward, you would not know. You would not notice. No, you would not. I was programmed. So the switch was so smooth. The only way you would be able to tell is if you knew me. But that's me as a programmed super soldier. If you knew me well, you would see me shift. You would know what to look for. You could see, you'd be able to tell, like if I started up a video, if you really knew me and you knew what you were looking for, you'd be like, you're Holly's altar. I have this friend, Greta. She always had a knack for going, nope, that's Holly's altar. She just knew me. She would be able to tell. But when I'd switch, it was ever so slight that if you didn't know what you were looking for, you would have missed it. And you would have had no idea that I left and other altars are forward now. And they didn't have different names. And when you spoke to me, you either call me Holly, my name, or I'm not going to answer to you. I don't answer to whistles. I don't answer to yo. I don't answer to Haley. I answer to Holly. I don't answer to Harley. Everybody rides Harley anyway. I answer to Holly. So my altars answered to that name. Now, anybody that gets up online and they've got fake names, they've got a different profile for each altar, all they're doing is keeping themselves compartmentalized and they're never going to heal. You do not want to call somebody by their altar's names. You want to call them by their name on their birth certificate because ultimately you want the person to heal. But as far as when altars shift and switch, unless you know what you're looking for, when it comes to a super soldier like me, you would not know it. You wouldn't know it. When it comes to somebody that was maybe abused by their neighbor and they have an altar that switches, probably whenever that person is in a stressful situation, during that stressful situation, that altar will come out, but you're thinking the person's just upset or just having an emotional fit or an emotional roller coaster, but it could be that person is flipping into an altar. And then you notice their demeanor's different. Things are changed. Maybe their voice is different. Maybe their handwriting's different. Maybe their whole line of thought is different. It's like, you know, that person, but all of a sudden it's like you got a different version of them. There's this people online. I was just watching a video today, and shout out to Mr. King World and his friends, Mr. Kulu and the Beam Team. And Mr. King's World on his channel today was viewing somebody that had made a video. And the girl in the video saying that she had altars. Oh my God. I have no idea what I was looking at because the girl in the video was just lying. She was trying to sit there like saying that she had altars. And then one by one, she got in front of the camera and just said, oh, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I like rocks and I paint rocks. And then you'd see her get up in front of the camera again and go, oh, hi, my name is something else and I like to cook. Yeah, I like to cook. And then the girl in the video would pop up and say, oh, yeah, I have another altar. And this altar is a really serious altar. And this girl is just rattling them off one by one by one. And when I watch this video, it's like, first of all, this girl's not switching. This girl does not have altars. I don't know what this girl is talking about. She ought to be embarrassed and ashamed of herself for being such a bad actress and lying about having altars. And the thing that sucks is it muckies the waters. The real victims, the real survivors like myself, we're left out in the cold. Now the public's hearts are going to grow cold because the fakes, frauds, and liars out there pretending to have altars, pretending to be MKUltra. And it's horrible. Hey, I wanted to just pause and say, hey, Unshackled Deliverance, Brandy and Philip, it's great to see all of you. Welcome. And yeah, the girl in the video was definitely lying. There's no doubt about that. I don't know what I saw, but that was bad acting and that was a liar. That was not altars. That was not switching. Now, anybody that says they have an altar, when that altar comes forward, if that altar itself cannot tell you what happened to the core raw personality, then something's off. Because every time my altars came forward, they're the ones that had the information. They're the ones that said, hey, Holly, we were used in kiddie porn and there's videos and pictures out there and here are my memories. Yeah, that one back in November 2016. You know how I worked out that? And a couple bottles of 151 Bacardi. But after about 6 months, I got over it. I healed and I moved past it. But I'll tell you what, that was a big whammy. And shout out to Clovis and everybody from her chat room back November 2016. And all of us are still friends. But that whole village was there to hold me up because I really fell down when I had to deal with the fact that I was sex trafficked. So altars do not have to listen to the name of Yahusha. Demons do. Altars can be programmed to be robots, animals. For myself, I've had alpha male altars. I've had older altars. I've had littler altars. All of it's hard to say because like what age they were, because they were given orders and instructions and programs. They were told what to do, who to call when I was done, where to go. But if you know what you're looking for, you can see when somebody switches. But when somebody has altars, like if you have altars and say you have missing time, then maybe what you could do is leave notes out. Pens, paper, crayons, leave notes out. Tell your altars, like, who's talking to me? What'd you do last night? What happened to you? I want you to stay home today. I love you. Treat your altars as human beings because they are. They're you. They're the traumatized, hurting you. Go to first and foremost to Yahuwah and ask him to heal and cure you. And with each altar, introduce each altar as they come to Yahuwah. But your altars are going to fall in love with him because they're looking for truth. They're looking for healing. Now, a lot of cases that I've seen, especially when it came to people that were abused by the Freemasons, a lot of I hate to say it, but a lot of those people would never take the step to fully accept their savior. They won't go through with the baptism. Oh, but Holly, I've been put through the satanic baptism where I was put in blood and I can't do a baptism for Yahusha. You know what? I know that you have issues and stuff, but sometimes you have to push through them. You got no problem taking a shower, right? Well, if you got no problem taking a shower, how come you can't take that itty bitty step to go further to Yahuwah? Because it's only him that's going to be able to help you in your altars. I bumped into this other girl online. She starts saying, oh, well, I have altars that are male. They're boy altars. So I'm going to get a sex change because my altars are boys. Oh my God. Okay, altars can be healed. A sex change is a permanent decision for a temporary problem. I had alpha male altars, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get a sex change, a surgical sex change for it. I want to pause and say, hey, Blinky and Gary. Quantum wave pattern. Yahusha is the name of our Savior. That's his name in Hebrew. So when Yahusha was walking down the street, people would say, Shalom Yahusha. They would not say Shalom Jehovah. They would not say Shalom Jesus. They would say, hey, Yahusha, Shalom. His name is Yahusha. And he only has one name. He doesn't have 82 names or 72 descriptive names or what have you. Pagan deities do, but not him. He's got one name because only one name works. So it depends how the person was hurt as to how the altars came about. You know, I want to tell you, there's a good book. It's called PTSD, A Time to Heal by Kathy O'Brien. It's a small little thin book. It's great. Get it. Work through it. Heavenly Abba had me do the stuff that Kathy O'Brien mentions in her book, except I didn't write a book on how I deprogrammed. It was just Yahusha and me that deprogrammed together. I guess I could still write a book on it, but there's already one made. Go get Kathy O'Brien's PTSD, A Time to Heal. When altars come forward, you want them to draw or write out their memories. You want to collect as much information as you can from them. And you want to introduce them to Yahushua HaMashiach. I want to pause and say, hey, Mountain Man, how are you? Welcome. But with altars, there's always a switching. And if you know what you're looking for, you can see it. But these people who get up on the internet going, oh, hi, this is Maddie. Oh, hi, I'm so-and-so. And they got a big dumbass smile on their face and they're going to a rock pile going, oh, I collect rocks. That's not altars. That's not having altars. I don't know what that's somebody on the internet that's mentally sick, wanting money and popularity. And sadly, they've got a following. They've got a whole army following them, which I feel bad for the army because I think the majority of the people, those 90s angels or the army or whoever they are, I think the majority of them are people who do want to get involved, who are heartfelt, who do want to do something. But they found the fakes, frauds, and liars first. They found Baal first. But that's okay. We can now renounce coming into agreement with the fakes, frauds, and liars, and call up your local police department and ask them, hey, do you have a division for child trafficking? How do I get myself educated, and how do I get involved? Simple as that. If you're not sure about what you're looking up on the internet, then call your local police department. I remember a couple of years ago, I had to call the police because I was raped. And as I sat at my local police department, I looked on the bookshelf and there were rows dedicated to child trafficking. Who better than to talk to? Ask them. How do I educate myself? And then how do I get involved? What do you suggest? Where do I go? Your local church is going to be useless. They don't know about this stuff. You can look organizations up online, but again, you got to be careful who you get involved with because anybody, any Joe Schmo can make a website, make it look professional and sucker you in. Anybody can make a video and put real sad music in it, pull on your heartstrings and suck you in. Like my videos, Heavenly Abba had me put my recovery up online. It was a part of my calling. So I still have all of my videos up from 2014 to 2022, where you can watch any one of those videos and see the altars. Sadly, Heavenly Abba, or sadly, I'm sorry, YouTube took down all the really good videos about CIA mind control and deprogramming. But there were videos where I did make them where I allowed my alters to speak. But it did not look anything like Allie and Shelley. It didn't look anything like that. And it was nothing like that. Oh my goodness, Blinky, I lift you up to Heavenly Abba. Heavenly Abba, please comfort Blinky. And please sort him out in Yahushua HaMashiach Shem Selah. Blinky, I'm so sorry. She says, I've been so triggered. My abuser committed suicide versus facing the charges against him. He took the cheap way out. Right now, Blinky, he's in hell. I don't know if that can help ease you, but Abba, may I? Heavenly Abba, I lift up Blinky. Please comfort her in this time. Please do not let this devastate her. Please let this somehow make her feel better. And Abba, sort him out. In Yahushua HaMashiach's name, Selah. Yeah, I agree, Beverly. He couldn't dish it. I'm so humbled, Aaron. Thank you for joining us. It has been very crazy with things happening. But just remember, with the blood of the Lamb, you can be healed. You do not have to live with altars for the rest of your life. You don't. When I realized I had altars, it was December 2014. I put in the work. I educated myself. I put in the time. And then sure enough, 8 years later, December 2022, Abba healed me of those altars. And now I know why he had me put my recovery up online. It's because he healed me of satanic ritual abuse, 169 altars, and MKUltra. He did it in front of everybody so that way you guys would know he's willing and able to do the same for you guys. You just need to go to him. That's all. Just go to him. He's not going to go, oh, I don't want to help you. He's not going to do that. He's going to go, you're here? You came to me? You're here. You chose me. Oh, that's it. You're mine. And he's going to stay with you forever and ever. A lot of people, when they talk about mind control, oh my goodness. I see a lot of frauds and liars up about that too when it comes to mind control. Oh, well, my dad was in the military, so I'm MKUltra. Listen, just because your dad was in the military doesn't mean you're MKUltra. Maybe you watch too many Simpsons. You can get programmed that way, but that's not going to turn you into a super soldier or, you know, you're going to be programmed to an extent, but not to the extent that I've been put through. Like I've heard people's, oh, geez, I'm drawing blanks. And I hate when that happens because I want to talk about MKUltra a little bit. MKUltra. When I was put through MKUltra, I was brought into deep underground military bases. I was brought into military laboratories. And they had me strapped down into a chair or a gurney, and they had different tubes coming out of my arms. They would they'd shoot me up with different medications. Sometimes it was LSD. Sometimes it was another drug that would intensify the pain, so a paper cut would feel like a shotgun wound. They'd have your eyes taped open and a movie playing in one eye and a different movie playing in the other eye. They would electrocute me so much I would leave my body. But I was strapped down into the chair. I remember being at Montauk in the Montauk chair. I remember being in the military laboratories. I remember being out in the dumps out in Texas and New Mexico. I remember Nelson, Canada. I remember the programmers' names. Joseph Mangley was one of them. The other programmers, even the ones from Montauk that are dead, I don't want to say their names because I fear for my life. There's still too many connections. It's hard for me to remember because I went through it. And I can also see the mechanism that they instilled to cause me to draw blanks when I think about certain things. But also they put me through rituals and sacrifices to make me swear never to talk about it. So I was programmed not to talk about it, and then I was put through sacrifices. So, at this point, it's 10 years for me being awake from MKUltra, SRA, DRD, DID, and the Super Soldier projects. What happened was in 2014, I had a flash flood of memories. It all came back at once. Now, those memories are the memories I already have. Most of them are fuzzy. They're becoming more clearer. But I don't have like this so-called slow drip of memories where for the past 20 years, every 3 months, I get a new memory. And now all of a sudden I got to have an insurance policy holder on the internet and drop their names and string people along every couple of months. No, for me, when the memories came back, they came crashing back all at once. That was it. They came crashing back all at once. The electrocution, when people go, oh, well, they electrocuted me, so I wouldn't remember. That's a bunch of hooey fooey, because anybody that's been electrocuted, their memories always come back. The memories always come back after an electrocution. It might take 10, 15 years, but the memories always come back. And when they come back, they come crashing in like a wrecking ball. There is no slow drip. Oh, Holly, I've had a slow drip for 25 years. Yeah, you're full of it, because every single super soldier that I know went through hell when we woke up. When we woke up, I lost my speaking abilities for 10 months. I went running through a neighborhood naked, reenacting human hunting parties that I had been put through as a kid. I called the cops on myself twice in one morning and encouraged a third party to call them a third time. And then I proceeded to sign myself into a mental ward because I wasn't sleeping or eating. There's another super soldier I know. So his memories came flooding back. He doesn't remember 3 days. The memories came back. He fell into, I guess, into some bad positions, and a complete stranger wound up dragging him into the emergency room where he spent a week in the hospital himself. And when he came out, he was in pieces. He could not even write his own name. He couldn't write. And now you get these people on the internet, and you want me to believe they have a slow drip and their memories are slowly coming back, and they never lost their speaking abilities. They never had to go to a mental ward for it. You want me to believe that garbage? Like what Safi, Ali, and Shelly say? No, that's lies, man, because every super soldier I've ever come into contact with went through one hell of a time to wake up. The majority of them committed suicide. They never made it. And also the projects I come from, the majority of another portion of people were terminated just for remembering. Corey was assassinated. Nobody talks about him. Nobody talks about Max Spear's friend over in Russia, whose name I can't remember. The projects I come from, the kids don't make it out. And if you're lucky enough to, you get terminated or you commit suicide. Max Spears is dead. He was assassinated. What? James Casbolt spent how many years in prison? Listen, my home right now is my own prison. but it's also my own quiet corner of the earth to live out the rest of my days peacefully. And we only got a couple years until the 7-year tribulation breaks out. And it's not 3.5. Sam, if you ever listen to this, I'm sick and tired of listening to you because you don't listen to anybody. It's 7 years, not 3.5. You mean when Max died? James Casbolt's alive. I just met him. I can email James Casbolt right now for you if you'd like. So the MKUltra I come from, they get you under the age of 6 because that's how they can fracture your mind. If they get you older than the age of 6, the probability of you dying is more likely. When you're younger, your brains are sponge. Plus, the ultimate disrespect to Abba is to get an innocent child and hurt an innocent child. But nowadays, they perfected the trauma and torture-based mind control techniques they used on me. They perfected it and turned it into things that the medical industry can use. And now they don't have to get you under the age of 6 because now the medical industry has their hands on you and just starts pumping you full of crap. And that crap they pump you full of, it damages your brain as if you were trafficked for 37 years, but you were never trafficked. You just let the medical industry pump you full of crap because they told you it was good. Now, all of a sudden, we get what? AI coming out? Well, with a simple blood test, AI can detect cancer, and then we can create a specialized shot filled with garbage just for you. Listen, they got that blood test already. You know, just a couple hundred years, just not even. A little over 100 years ago, we had the cures for cancer. They were taken off the market and replaced with what Rockefeller wanted us to have, which is what we have now, which is what that one guy from Oracle, that guy from Oracle, I forget his name. Oh, man. I've seen this coming since the year 2012. Oh, it'll be good for our health. We'll be able to cure cancer. We'll be able to do this. We'll be able to do that. And meanwhile, forget about all your other natural cures and all of your herbs and forget about all that stuff that actually works. I know. It's good to see you, Blinky. It's been so long. So, there's people that have been human experimented on at the Sanford Research Institute. No offense, it does not make them a super soldier or a Montauk assassin. It does not necessarily make them MKUltra. And I'm not trying to be rude, but there are differences, and they need to be taken into consideration. But I've noticed that there's people online that just lie about all of this. It's when it comes to switching, when somebody switches, unless you really know the person, you're not going to notice it. I mean, it's subtle. And to sit there in front of a video camera for an hour and just go, oh, hi, this is my one altar. Da, 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 da. Oh, well, hi, this is my third altar. Oh, hi, this is my fourth altar. And then just run down your altars like that. That's not switching. That's not having altars. That's really bad acting and lying. The majority of my altars, you could not tell the difference between them and me. And the reason why is because there was always an altar that was the front altar. So whatever you saw was the front altar, and then there would be 2 altars working behind the scenes, doing what I was programmed to do. but that was done intentionally. So that way you guys would only see the front cover, but you wouldn't know what was going on behind the scenes. And that is that's the perfect undetectable mind control slave. But when you have somebody that say like Sybil, if you've ever seen that movie, Sybil was harmed by her mother. That's a little bit different. Someone like Sybil is going to be missing time. Someone like Sybil is going to have, like, for lack of better terms, episodes or fits where you just got to go to the library and order the movie Sybil. It's an old movie. It's slow moving. Watch it. It's a great movie. But see, there's a difference between Sybil and Holly Baglio. I was programmed. What happened to Sybil happened to her by her family. Please, I'm telling you guys, you want to know about alters? I could give you some movies. I got to find my list, but look up the old movie Sybil. Hey, Tim, it's great to see you. I'm sorry that I'm squinting my eyes. It's that I have glasses that I should put on. So I'm not making angry faces. Sybil. Okay, so that movie was done by Sally Field. You want to get the one with Sally Field. Sybil. Now, it's a true story. So, so it's Sally Field. Watch it. That'll give you, I mean, that honestly, that it's slow moving, but if you want to understand alters, I mean, it's great. Now, the scary thing is when you watch that movie Sybil and you see her alters and what she goes through with them, what our government and military industrial complex did was weaponize that. Also, I want you, wait, there's a couple Sybil movies. Wait a second. Can you give me one moment? Actually, internet radio, you don't have to give me any moments. I am going to pause you, but you don't have to give me any moments because I'll be right back. You guys, give me a moment. You guys on YouTube, hang on a second. Copy. Yeah, that was you, Bev. You put that in the chat. Sybil, the movie Sybil. Watch that movie. But when you're done watching that movie, just know that they weaponized it. I love you too so much. I'm so happy to see you, Blakey. It's been so long. I want my HTV. Okay, so I got my disclaimer up. All right, here. I paused internet radio. I'm probably making a bad show for internet radio, but you and me, babe, we got a date. By the way, babe. All right, so this is the movie Sybil. Let's watch. I'm not back far enough.
Cafe and ordered a whole covered dinner on the Sabbath so she wouldn't have to cook.
Dad, I have an illness. It's what you and Mother call my moodiness, and it's getting worse and worse.
You think she's really a multiple personality?
And I know she is.
I used to think that everybody was like this. They would just naturally wake up and be someplace else a whole lot later, but wouldn't be like this.
I don't know what this soundtrack is. This is a trailer.
When you don't know where you are.
Nothing will fit perfect anywhere until I fit perfect.
That's right. Come on.
All right. Why? Okay, hang on a minute. This is ticking me off. I'm ticked off. Hang on. Why would they put Elton John's song on this trailer? All right. Here, we're going to watch a couple minutes together. Do you mind? Internet radio is paused. Now, at the very beginning, you hear this swing squeaking, right? Okay, well, let me explain it. Sybil here, when she was a little tiny girl, her mama abused her. And her mama would take her basically out in the barn and tie her to a hook and then hoist her up and let her hang there. So when you're out in like a hay barn and you hear like the rusty tools and everything and the rusty cranks going around, it's the same sound as the swing sets, right? So the swing sets are making that same noise, but it's triggering her back to when she was a little kid and her mommy would tie her up, take her out to the barn and leave her hanging from the rafters. I know she did, Beverly. She did play the hell out of that part, right? So you want to watch it for a minute? So just so you know. You see? That's a trigger.
We ought to let him blow off steam before we put him back on the bus. Maybe then follow the leader.
Let's follow the leader. That will be fine.
So remember, they just flashed her. That looks like her mother, so there's a trigger. The sound's another trigger. That's her being abused as a kid. That's the barn. Now this is a trigger. This is a switch. That's what it looks like, guys. I don't know what Shelly and Allie are doing, but they're liars.
Sakes, what are you doing in the water? Sybil.
What?
All right, here. So I'll drop a link in my chat room. Let me go back to the video. We can come back and watch this again. I'll put a link in the description box. I put it in the chat room, but let me put a link in my description box too. So Sybil. What was it I'm terrible with names. Sally Field. Yeah, she did play the hell out of that part. You know what was good? Watching that, the making of the movie. That was really good. Because that gave you even more information.
The making of the movie.
What? I sound like a man. I am the Zelensky. So, I don't know. All right, so let me get back to internet radio. I don't even know where I left off with that. Okay, so I'm back, unpaused from internet radio. But the movie Sybil with Sally Field, if you can, check it out. It's worth it. That will give you a great understanding of somebody that has alters. Now, when you're done watching that movie with Sally Field, just understand that what our government and military did was weaponize it. Weaponize having alters. You can force someone to go against their will and program them. You can do a lot with a person. So you can shatter them and then take that shell of a person and program it to do things that are against the person's will, but they would never know because they're in an altered state of mind. Because you're using that part of them that's stuck at that moment of extreme torture, trauma, and shock. And they're not home. Their core raw personality is gone. Their core raw personality has missing time. They don't know what happened. They don't remember. They can't remember. And again, as far as co-consciousness, I'm the only person that I know that was ever co-conscious, and that's because I went to Heavenly Abba and he let me see what was happening. The majority of people that I know that do honestly have alters, they are not co-conscious. They have missing time. And when their alters are forward, they're gone. They don't remember what their alters did. They don't remember who their alters talked to. They have no idea. But if you flip over to me and my story, I was programmed like this. So, yeah, for the first 40 years of my life, I never remembered when an altar was forward. But then when I went to Abba, oh, he made me co-conscious. And then when I saw what I was dealing with, what Joseph Mangley and the other programmers and handlers had done to me, man, yeah, it definitely took 8 years to patch me up. And then still another 2 on top of it to get used to being all patched up and fully reintegrated. It's different. It's a lot easier. I mean, these people that say that they have faith, but yet they've had altars for 25 years, obviously there's something going wrong in their faith, or they've got the wrong God, or they're just not walking in his ways, because I've seen Yahuwah work in the lives of people that really do seek him. I've seen Heavenly Abba cure somebody of altars. I'm one of those. I'm that person. But sadly, the majority of people, they say they want faith in Yahusha, but they wind up going with the fake Jesus. They wind up going with Christianity, because in Christianity, you can be a Christian, have the world think you're a great person, but in reality, the truth is you just renounce Yahusha to be that Christian. Hey, warning signs, it's great to see you. Anyway, I'm gonna have to make sure to wear my glasses next time, because my chat, I can't really read the small writing of my chat room. So I'm really humbled. It's great to see you, warning signs. And Blinky, really, it's great to see all of you, Beverly, Tim. So, all right, I guess I'll let you guys get going. What was the rest of my title here? Oh, how to heal. How to heal, go to Yahuwah. Treat your altars like they're human beings, because they are you. Be gentle and kind with them. Let them draw and write out their experiences. Do it in private. You don't want the predators coming along to see where you are and that you've woken up, because they'll throw a wrench in the works and then throw you off track. I've had that happen to me. Douglas Riggs did it to me, and he protected the Queen. And the Queen, I was put through a human hunting party at Buckingham Palace. And when Douglas Riggs heard my testimony, oh man, that's another story with Douglas Riggs. That guy, he's dead, but he would not deal with somebody that was not programmed with Joseph Mangley. So somebody like Shelley, Alley, and Safi and those people, he would have never given them the time of day, because they're frauds. They're trying to pass their drug abuse and mental illness off as them being MKUltra and trafficked. And you can tell by what they say and how they say it, it's just not true at all. And I'll tell you, when Ali came out with that video where she had it professionally done. And they're shaking in the chair, sitting Indian style with a black shirt, saying Tupac's her father. When I first saw that video, do you know, for 20 minutes, that girl sat in front of a camera. Oh, he. It's not about the eyelashes. It's not about the eyelashes. It's about the kid. She said absolutely nothing for 20 minutes. But yet I noticed that people on the internet were drooling for more. She didn't say anything. And what she did say was nothing but throwing words together and attaching emotion on it to get other people sucked in. All the information they put out is false. It's not true MKUltra. Anyway, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I will come back and broadcast more. And, well, I guess at this time, I should probably shut it down. I'll shut it down both on internet radio and YouTube. It's really great to see you, Blinky. Tim, Beverly, Warning Signs, thank you for joining me. I give you all of my blessings and love. Mountain Man. We had Gary. Who else visited us? Unshackled Deliverance. It's always a pleasure to see you. Aaron, thank you so much. Quantum Wave Pattern. ECWN, WWF. Philip and Aaron. Brandy. River and Go. It's great to see you. All right, everyone. Thanks again. And I'll come back with more stories. Okay? I hope you all have a great night. Yahusha Barakas.